Saving money is very important, and I want to talk with you about three reasons why we should save money. I'm Kylie McKinney, founder and owner of True Prosperity Financial Coaching, where I empower individuals who are struggling with money to do well with money, and people who are doing well with money, I empower them to strengthen their journey financially. If you like this video and others that are on my YouTube channel, please press and click the like button and subscribe, and send this video along with others on my YouTube channel to those who would benefit from the material and the content that's being shown in the videos. So 3 reasons why we should save money. Number 1, emergencies. You know, they're in a 10-year time frame. All of us are subject to a major financial situation that would necessitate us having an emergency fund. So that's one reason. Also, 66% of Americans don't even have $1,000 to cover an emergency if it were to happen. That's not okay. Now, what constitutes an emergency? Well, 3 questions we need to ask ourselves as to whether or not this is actually a financial emergency. Number 1, is it unexpected? Number 2, is it necessary? And number 3, is it urgent? That would be things, for example, like a flat tire or the refrigerator going out. Of course, that is urgent, it's necessary, and it's definitely unexpected. So you may ask, well, how much do I need to save in an emergency fund? Well, for starters, if you're just starting off, I recommend saving $1,000 in a starter emergency fund. Notice I said starter emergency fund. If your annual income is $25,000 or less, I recommend you start off with $500 in the emergency fund. Now, I know that's not a lot of money, but the thing is a starter emergency fund that will handle those little emergencies if they were to happen, such as things as a flat tire or the alternator in the car going out. Now, of course, in this process, if you have debt, you want to get rid of your debt, but this starter emergency fund would delay, or not delay, but would divert you having to go back into debt if you did not have this in place. So a starter emergency fund of $1,000. Well, you may ask, well, how do I start this process? How do I get this money going? Or how would I save? Where would I save? Well, you can save by a couple of things. Maybe having a yard sale or a garage sale, or maybe selling some things that you have that you're not using anymore on eBay or Craigslist, or even getting a side hustle, extra side hustle to save the money toward an emergency fund. Now, when you are creating this emergency fund, you want to save it in a separate savings account that's separate from your regular savings or checking account. You don't want to commingle them together because you don't want to use or dip into your emergency fund accidentally or not, unnecessarily. So having a separate account that's designated emergency fund is very important. I would recommend also that you consider going online and parking it in a high yield savings account. A high yield savings account, because those high yield savings accounts are earning a higher interest, a greater interest than the brick and mortar banks are. Matter of fact, the high yield savings accounts are yielding about 4 to 5% in interest, as opposed to the 0.5% that most brick and mortars are shoving out at this point. Also, you want to consider the fact of having it direct deposited into this account or auto transferred. That way you know your money is going straight to the savings account for emergencies, building, as opposed to you having to think about it and put it in there. So having that amount is very important, but also doing it by auto transfer or direct deposit is also key as well. So once you have that set up, of course, once you're out of debt, then at that point I would circle back to your emergency fund and then finish out with a 3 to 6 month worth of expenses saved in your emergency fund. So once your debt's knocked out of the way, go back and build that emergency fund up to 3 to 6 months of your monthly expenses in the emergency fund. Now, what constitutes 3 months as opposed to 6 months? Well, if you're married and have steady income, then you may want to lean on the 3-month side. If you're single, or maybe you're working on commission, then the 6-month side is we may want to look at as far as your emergencies or saving the amount to save in your emergency fund. So number one, we save for emergencies. Number two, we save for purchases. Now, in saving for purchases, you want to do an inventory of your short-term savings goals as opposed to your long-term savings goals. Now, an example of a short-term savings goal will be things such as saving for Christmas, or saving for vacation, or saving to buy some new clothes. Whereas a long-term savings goal would be things such as saving for buying a house or saving for buying a car. And when you're saving for purchases, I recommend using what's called the sinking fund approach. The sinking fund approach. Now, what is that? Well, a sinking fund approach is the number of months that it takes to reach your savings goal is divided by, well, let's put it this way. You have a savings goal, and then you have a certain number of months you need to get there. You divide your savings goal by that number of months to get to that particular goal. So let's say, for instance, Christmas. Let's say you want to save $600 for Christmas. Now, at the time of this video taping, it's October, so that means we have 3 months, October, November, December, until we reach Christmas. So if I'm saving $600, that's my goal for presents, for whatever I want to do with that money for Christmas, that means I have 3 months between now and then to get to that goal. So I would then divide that by 3. $200 in October, $200 in November, $200 in December, which gives me my goal of $600 saved by Christmas. Now, and what that does, it lessens the blow of having to come up with $600 in one swoop, as opposed to having it incrementally saved over the time to get to that goal. Incidentally, by the way, if you are looking at this time to start Christmas shopping, and you are wanting some ideas as far as Christmas gifts for the man in your life, the woman in your life, the child in your life, look in the description section of this video, where you will find some ideas, few suggestions on Amazon to target your husband, the man in your life, or the woman in your life, or that child in your life for some Christmas gifts. Now, also in saving for purchases, you want to consider a budget. A budget, of course, is a cash plan for your money to make sure that you're allocating the right amount toward savings to reach your goal. If you want a quick lesson on what a budget is and how to create one and live on one that works, click in the description section of this video, and you'll find an online course called Cents and Cents, a cash plan for your money, where you can enroll into that online course and get a quick lesson on how to budget and live on one that works. You also want to consider, in saving for purchases, not falling into impulse buying and buying with unintentional things. And you want to practice delayed gratification, making sure that you don't just see it and buy one, get one free, or fear missing out type of purchases. Be deliberate in your spending, be deliberate in your purchasing, rather, to make sure that you are saving for the purchases to make at the time that you want to make them. Finally, saving for retirement. We should save for retirement. Now, retirement is not an age, it's a financial number. Retirement is not an age, it's actually a financial number. And the three reasons, the three big variables of why we save for retirement are: number one, time, when you start is important. Number two, money, that's another variable in saving for retirement, the amount that you're contributing toward your goals. And number three, return, the earnings of return that your money's making based upon what you've invested in and the time you started investing. So those are the three variables to look at when it comes to saving for retirement. And when you save and or invest in retirement, you are actually taking care of your tomorrow. What do I mean by taking care of your tomorrow? Well, your tomorrow is your goals or your actual desired lifestyle that you want to have. So saving and investing, saving for retirement, is you taking care of your tomorrow. Now, with investing, I recommend that the way you invest or what you invest in is very important as well. You want to make sure that you're investing in stock-based mutual funds that earn you a better return than bonds will. And number two, I would recommend you invest in paid for income producing real estate, where you're not in debt or going into debt with the real estate trying to save, for your retirement. So 3 reasons why we should save. We should save for emergencies, save for purchases, and save for retirement. Incidentally, going back to the emergency fund, high yield savings accounts, I will also in the description have a link to some high yield savings accounts you can look at through Bankrate. There's a number of different accounts out there, and you can start one as little as $1 or even 1 cent. But again, make sure that when you're saving intentionally and knowing why you're doing it. So 3 reasons again why we save our money is for emergencies, number 2 for purchases, and number 3 for retirement. Again, if you like this video, please press like, subscribe, and share this with those who you know would benefit in saving their money.